All right, good morning, people. Welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Atlanta Falcons and Georgia Southern football. Not much on deck for Georgia Southern, but we are definitely going to talk about some Atlanta Falcons stuff. Mostly what their needs are because of the fact that they're officially eliminated from the playoffs. They do have a chance to spoil the New Orleans Saints season by beating them once again this season, and we'll see how that plays out. But for right now, the fact that they are eliminated from the playoffs, I want to talk about what is needed on the team right away, what's going to happen possibly in the draft, and also with the playoff picture. We're going to talk about a few things in the playoff picture. So we're really going to get into that today. I appreciate everybody who's been watching on YouTube. If you don't know that anything about me being on YouTube, just type in First and Frame Rates. I should pop right on up, VF Baller. Or if you are listening, or if you want to listen on your favorite podcast platform, just go to the search engine of Apple, iTunes, Spotify or Anchor, where you can just type in First and Frame Rates. I should pop right on up. Like I said, we're in episode 256, and we're going to talk about what the Falcons need, and just get right into it. Priority pocket protection. You know one thing about Matt Ryan, he's been sacked numerous of times for the past few years, and the offensive line just has not gotten better. We drafted some linemen in the Dan Quinn era. We also turned right around and got Jalen Mayfield. Unfortunately, even though some guys do try to hold up and try to hold their own, Matt Ryan is getting smacked around too many times. And with him having time in the pocket, he's able to make plays, but now sometimes he don't have time. I mean, sometimes it'd be like less than, 2.3 seconds, and he's already on the ground, or he's running for his life or something like that. And that needs to change. So I got a few guys here that I'm going to throw some names out, and I want to let you know my opinion on what is needed and if they will be a good fit for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, my thing is, it's just my opinion. I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan like you guys that just like to talk football. I'm not never going to claim to be an expert. I'm not going to claim to be any of these other analysts that are out here or claim to be an analyst. I'm just speaking off what I see on the field and what I see what these guys are capable of doing, and seeing how it would put some type of improvement on the team. Now, you may hear my son in the background. He's right here with me. He's always up here with me. If you know anything about my content, you know that he's here. So you may hear him in the background. So it is what it is. First and foremost, there's no doubt the offensive line for the Falcons, anybody can get it at this point. Anybody can be replaced, in my opinion. I know Jalen Mayfield is his first year. I think that he may get a pass, and he'd probably be starting again next year, which I'm not against. I'm not necessarily against it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they move him around or even be replaced to be second or third string. I think he done okay overall for a rookie, but the rest of these guys, they definitely can be replaced. And you got a generational talent at tackle coming out of Alabama. Evan Neal is a 6'7", 350-pound monster. Looks like he can be either left or right tackle. I probably would put him at left tackle. And I don't think anybody's going to get around him. Dude is huge. Number one ranked tackle in the draft. I'm looking at this guy, and it's just like he has everything that you need just to protect anybody, let alone Matt Ryan. And I know right now the Falcons are probably going to be picking in the first round between 10 and 16 or something like that. I think Mike Conti said something like that for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. But I'm not sure that he will be there at 10 if we are going to be the 10th pick in the draft. Evan Neal look like one of these guys probably going to be going in the top 3, top 5. I mean, he just looks that good. Now, I don't know what the other teams need. I don't know what the draft order is yet, but he looks like a generational talent that's going to go there. Now, if that's the case, if he's the tackle that's going to be gone that early, I want to, give you guys another idea of anybody else that's actually probably worthy of going. I see names like Akeem Aquaniu from North Carolina State. I'm kind of biased because North Carolina State is like my adopted college because I love playing with them on video games. But his name is out there. The Nicholas Pettit Farrer. He's another one. Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. Those are some tackles that are really could emerge around that 10 to 16, 10 to 17 pick in the draft. So if you want to get a tackle, I think Evan Neal is probably going to be gone by then. But at the same time, you can still get, there's my son, you hear him, you can still get some quality guys at the position. But if me, the bias side of me, or the Atlanta Falcon fan in me, I would love to get Evan Neal. Like I said, 6'7", 350, 360. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that as far as size, and the way that he protects is just amazing. So you also have another guy that's further down on the totem pole as far as the top offensive tackles, on Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, 6'7", 321. And this is one that I just love, these really tall, big centers, because if they got the footwork, nobody's getting around them. And that's the thing I would love, and that would be perfect for Matt Ryan. You got these fast, these pass rushers that are quick, but if you got guys this big with some footwork, yeah, I don't see anybody getting the best of them. And not just for Matt, but any quarterback would love to have that type of tackle. All these other guys that I named, they're around the 6'4" to 6'6" era. They're still just as good. And like I said, what we're looking at for the Falcons, they need to have some type of protection for Matt Ryan. Now, I will go inside the offensive line as well, which that is a problem. In my opinion, I think that's the bigger issue than the outside, because we've seen a lot of guys rush up the middle and just bull rush a lot of our offensive linemen. They just bull rush them, and Matt Ryan is trying to step up in the pocket or run outside, but every time he tries to step up in the pocket, he's getting hit, or most of the time when he's trying to run outside, it's too late. But most of the time, we're getting a lot of pressure up front when Matt Ryan can't see downfield. And with that being said, I like Keon Green out of Texas A&M. He's another really good offensive lineman, 6'4", 325, and he may be the best one that's coming out of college as far as the top interior lineman. Yeah, like I said, you also have, once again, Akeem Aquaniu. I guess he can move inside as well. Darian Kennard is another one out of Kentucky, 6'5", 345. And I don't know if he's local, but he plays for the state for the University of Georgia. Jameer Slayer is moving up as far as with this draft position that I'm seeing right here. He's moving up as well, that he could be one of the better inside offensive linemen in the draft. So 6'4", 325, looking pretty good there. So as far as, once again, the interior linemen, I think a lot of these guys will probably, you can get these guys in the second round. Some of these will probably go in the first, but if you're going to get these, I think a few of these guys will probably drop into the second round for the Falcons. You may want to try to use one of your 2 second round picks on one of these interior linemen. But if you can't get nobody in the first round, me personally, I think you would want to try to get a tackle, unless if there's just like, like I said, Evan Neal, is it Evan Neal? Did I say that right? Oh yeah, Evan Neal, if he's off the board, and you may want to go with best player available, which I'm going to talk about other players that need to be, that is needed for the Falcons. If, for instance, they want to go with the interior lineman in the second round, or one of those 2 draft picks, second round picks, I think that'll be a pretty good slot to get any of these guys. They look like they can, would fit in pretty well with what we need on the offensive line. As far as Keon Green goes, I think Keon Green is going to be going in the first round. So if we don't get Evan Neal and you want to get Keon Green here at the inside offensive lineman as a guard you want to try to get him in the first round, that's probably your best bet. I think he will still be available around the 10 to 16 mark area of the draft. So as far as protection goes, this is where it's going to have to start. I think you're going to have to draft some more guys to get some better pocket protection for our quarterback, Matt Ryan, and or whoever the quarterback is going to be, because it works in the trenches. I mean, we could talk about the defensive side, but I mean, we're getting our quarterback just smacked around a little bit too much, and he's pretty tough, and it's good to see that. But you want to have him upright more than anything, so that's where we need to go with that. As far as centers, I didn't look at too many centers when I was looking, but I think if anything, if we do, I think it's really important for us to find a center, because you saw how much success that a good center has when Alex Mack was with us. Now, when Alex Mack was on the team, we had a much better direction of the offensive line. The centers usually like the vocal point of the offensive line, and you saw the results. Now, what I will say is, I'm not really sure if you want to get a center in the draft. Maybe you can find a veteran one if one's out there. If not, these centers that are here, you could probably get one, a pretty good one in the third round. Maybe this could be the second round pick, depends on how you play it. I don't know, but because I don't think that center is a priority, but I do believe, in my opinion, tackle and guard is probably going to be one of the first two picks in the draft for the Falcons. It just needs to be. You see guys like, Caleb McGarry, you see Jake Matthews, and I like the guys, but they just haven't been doing what they're supposed to as far as protection, in my opinion. But they've done a better job than the interior line. So the interior line is the one that really needs the help. Like I said, I think Jalen Mayfield is probably going to be sitting around for a while and actually going to be playing again next season. So that's what it's going to be about right there. So that's basically what it's going to be when it comes for pocket protection. We need to find somebody or somebodies that can actually protect, because I think it's very, very important. You keep Matt Ryan up, good things will happen. But that would just be the thing right there. As far as that goes, hopefully that'll happen. I'm willing and ready to see how that's going to play out, because I'm really ready to get the season over with. I mean, we're looking at now, we're going to play the Saints. I think it's going to be a fun game, but we're eliminated from the playoffs. I think the team overachieved. I talked about that in the last episode. So when I talked about that in the last episode, that they overachieved. They didn't make it to 9-8 like I thought they would, but they look like they're going to win 8 games, and I think that's really an accomplishment based on everything that has happened. So we'll see how that plays out as well. I just think the Falcons are in good shape to actually do something next year if they get the right pieces in place. Because if you're willing to win games, and you're winning this many games with this staff, or not the staff on the sidelines, but the staff that's on the field, the players on the field, I think you're going to be in a situation where you can actually do some things if you get the right pieces. Another draft place I'm going to talk about is actually wide receiver. And I will talk about that later on down the road, probably next episode or sometime this week, where the wide receiver position is definitely a priority. And as you can see, I would not be surprised if that is I would not be surprised if that's used in the first round as well, depending on who's picked. But we'll talk about that in another time, because that could be a whole nother venture that I can get into, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because it's all about pocket protection. We need to protect Matt Ryan. We need to protect whatever quarterback that we do have, because we don't know what the future holds. I feel Matt Ryan's going to be here for another 2 years, and I know some people don't want to hear that, but I think that's going to be the case. It's just too much money right there. It's just too much money right there to be trying to offload, or whatever the case may be, or having that actually eating away at our cap even when he's traded. We're already dealing with that with Julio Jones. So I don't know if we're going to be doing that, because I think he's like, what, 45, 44, $50 million in dead money. I don't think, I think he just need to go ahead and play. Quick scenario, what I think we should do. I think we should just go ahead and rebuild everything around Matt Ryan. Once his contract is up, draft a quarterback or have a quarterback in waiting and just put them in. And at the same time, we can still have success with the other players, long as Matt Ryan don't turn the ball over and don't do anything crazy. And when we get a new quarterback in that's groomed or just NFL ready out the draft, we're good. It's kind of similar like what Kansas City done. Kansas City built everybody around and then put Pat Mahomes in. Same thing like with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills got everybody around and then put Josh Allen in. You know, I think that'll be a perfect situation for the Falcons, but we'll see how that plays out. I just think that we're in a situation where we're making a culture that looks attractive because the spots are open for players to get a starting job and be successful. If you're willing to win this many games with this staff, imagine if you get a couple of superstars on both sides of the ball. You get a decent receiver. You might want to get a nice little offensive lineman or two. And on defense, you get another corner on the other side of AJ Terrell, or if you get or you get a pretty good edge rusher. So it's a lot going on here. So we'll see how that plays out. I will be remiss before I talk about the playoff picture. We're talking about Dan Reeves. Rest in peace to Dan Reeves. Look, I've been a Falcons fan since 1993. Before then, I was a 49ers fan, believe it or not. I mean, I was born in the early 80s. And all I knew was the 49ers. I remember watching Jerry Rice and Joe Montana win those Super Bowls in the 80s. And I was like stoked because football was like my first love. And all I knew was like the 49ers. It got to the point, that's all I knew, that I honestly didn't know that Georgia, the state of Georgia I was in, had a team. So around, 10 or 11 years old, I said, okay, wait a minute. Deion Sanders is here. I like Deion Sanders. Looks pretty cool. The team was with Michael Haynes and Chris Miller. I started watching them. I was like, okay. And then I started being a fan of the Falcons, and I've been a Falcons fan ever since. And Dan Reeves was that guy. I remember the June Jones years with the run and shoot. But when Dan Reeves came, Dan Reeves put this team to relevance. We made it to the NFC Championship. We made it to the Super Bowl. We ended up losing the Super Bowl to the Broncos, but we turned back around. Took Chris Chandler, ended up getting Michael Vick, and Dan Reeves was able to create a culture of somewhat winning, and rest in peace to Dan Reeves. I mean, not only just what he did with the Falcons, the things he did with the Broncos, just been a great coach. He's participated in like 9 Super Bowls. Phenomenal career. He will be missed. And it's just unfortunate we're losing so many people. But we just, lost John Madden, not too long ago. Dan Reeves is going. Betty White. I talked about Betty White on my other channel. I talked about her on my other channel when how I felt about her being such an icon in television when I used to watch television so much. And I would love to watch the Golden Girls as a kid. And I used to love playing Madden football. I still do love playing Madden football. But when I was a kid, and Madden football was like the thing. And then, Dan Reeves was another part of my childhood, helping me become a better fan of the Falcons. It's just really, 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 really tough the past 10, 11 days. It's been really, really rough. But let's go ahead and get into the playoff picture. Oh, before I do that, if you like this content, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button, share this, let people know what I'm doing over here. If you're over on the side of the podcast side, give me a rating. Let people know, how this podcast is going for your listening pleasure. And also, the more ratings that you put down, the higher the rating, the more people will see eyes on this. It's just a one-man show. I'm doing the best I can. Hopefully I'm doing this well enough to your satisfaction. And, it's just a good time just to talk about sports. I love talking about sports. Let's get into this playoff picture right now. Looks like the Tennessee Titans may clinch the number 1 seed. Green Bay Packers have clinched the number 1 seed. Now, the thing with this, the Green Bay Packers look like they could win it all. And I'm not joking when I say that. But at the same time, this is the playoffs. You don't know what may happen in the playoffs. It's one of the reasons why I wanted the Falcons to get in the playoffs. Once you're in, all bets are off. Anything can happen. But nevertheless, the Packers are the number 1 seed. It's hard to play at Lambeau. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers was able to beat them last year, and Green Bay has just been on the cusp so many times, so close to winning every single time. And maybe it's their year. I don't know. The Los Angeles Rams is number 2 in the NFC. That's a dangerous team. If that's one team, if they get hot, that's a team that you really don't want to face, even if, Green Bay is the number 1 seed. And Tampa Bay, you got Tom Brady. How could you not bet? How could you bet against that? I mean, Tom Brady, good God, it's going for Super Bowl number 8, I think. Jeez, 8. He's going to have enough rings on all 4 of his, outside fingers. He's going to need 2 more for his thumbs. The Dallas Cowboys, yeah, you know what? Let me stop right here. Let me say this. You got the Packers, the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Dallas Cowboys, and even the Cardinals. All 5 of these teams are very dangerous. These are very dangerous teams in the NFC. This is going to be a really good-looking playoff. It really is. Because Dallas does look good, and, they lost Michael Gallup for the season. That sucks. But they have a pretty good defense, and they still can move the ball even without Michael Gallup. Yes, it's going to be a blow, but even then, they're going to be able to move the ball pretty well. And Arizona looks pretty good too. I mean, they play very well. Kyler Murray is no joke. You still got guys who can catch the ball. I think what's the thing? DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out for the rest of the season, but I think he's going to be back for the playoffs. So that's going to be interesting to see if he comes back. San Francisco and Philadelphia, as of right now, they round out the number 6 and 7 seed. San Francisco, I don't know what to think about this team. I mean, they look good. I don't know, but they're just an I don't know team. Now the Philadelphia Eagles actually made the playoffs right now, and this is the team that the Philadelphia Eagles basically done what I thought the Falcons were going to do. Right now they're 9-7. They play against the Cowboys in the final game of the season. In all honesty, the Cowboys may sit some people, so Philadelphia may go 10-7. I'm not really sure. The Philadelphia Eagles are a pretty decent team. They won the last 6 or 7 or something like that. They're pretty decent. I don't think they're good, but I think they're a decent team. They've done well enough to make the playoffs. They've done exactly what I thought the Falcons were going to do. Right now, they look like they're facing 9-8, which is exactly what I thought the Falcons were going to do. They do play Dallas, and it's going to be pretty interesting. They're playing in Philadelphia, so it could be 10-7, but looking at it, maybe 9-8 if Dallas don't rest their starters. They rest their starters, I think that's what it's going to be. Now, when you look at the AFC looks pretty strong as well. I think this playoff is going to be really, really good. I think it's going to be really good. Right now, as of right now, Tennessee Titans are the number 1 seed. And Julio and AJ Brown's going to have to play. And that's going to be their claim to fame. If they want to make a deep run in the playoffs, those 2 receivers are going to have to play. And I'm not talking about one. I'm talking about both. In my opinion, I think both of them are going to have to play, and they're going to have to play really tough. Because if you get those guys, and I think Derrick Henry's supposed to be coming back, but even if you get those 3 guys on the field, they can possibly run away with this thing. And I'm not, looking down on the Cincinnati Bengals because they're like the hottest team. But we'll talk about them in a second. But you're going to need Julio Jones and AJ Brown to play. You need them to play like themselves. If not, they're going to be to me, I think they're going to be a number 1 seed for nothing. That's just my opinion. Now, there are other teams that they haven't clinched it. So there's other teams and other scenarios, which I'm not going to get into the scenarios. I'm just looking at the picture right now. When you're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're number 2. I don't know how I feel about Kansas City, and they may be playing against the Chargers in the first round. That's going to be a dangerous game for Kansas City. So they need to be real careful with what they do. I don't have a yay or nay on Kansas City. They're always capable of putting up points, but I just don't know what to think about this particular team because even at 11-5, they don't look like the world beaters that they were for the past few years. The Cincinnati Bengals, we just got finished talking about them. They're the 3 seed. I don't think nobody wants to touch this team right now. That passing attack, and they can still run the ball, and they got a pretty decent defense. I don't think nobody wants to touch this team right now. I would not be surprised if they make a deep run in the playoffs. Right now, their last game is against the Browns. They probably end up going 11-6. And if Kansas City's not if Kansas City's not careful, they probably could flip those two, where Cincinnati's going to be going up one and Kansas City go down one. Cause I think Cincinnati just beat Kansas City recently this past Sunday. Buffalo just beat my Falcons. And the fact that the Buffalo just beat my Falcons, they clinched the playoff spot. This team right here, I don't know what to make of this team too much. They do have a problem on defense with the front seven. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know if they're going to go far in the playoffs. They have the quarterback for it, obviously. They have the passing game for it as well. But I'm not really sure. I think their defense may let them down. But, you know, Buffalo is Buffalo. You never know what may happen in the playoffs. I mean, that's just how it is. Number 5 is New England Patriots. Let me tell you something about this team right here. Don't sleep on this team. Don't sleep on the New England Patriots. They got the best coach. Yeah, they got the best coach in the AFC. Probably the best coach ever, in my opinion. They've managed to find a quarterback that can manage games and do what he has to do to play safe. And I'm not calling him a game manager, but he's actually managing games, to be honest. I know that sounds crazy. But this is a team that could sneak up on people because they have the defense. If the quarterback don't turn the ball over, we're talking about a deep run for the New England Patriots. Now, you're looking at the Indianapolis Colts at 9-7. I don't know what to make of this team. I just don't. I just don't know. Carson Wentz is over there doing his thing. Depends on who they're playing up against. They're playing against the Bengals, possibly is the projected first round matchup. If they're playing against the Bengals, I think they're done. Because like I said, right now, the hottest team in the AFC right now is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're probably the hottest team in the NFL right now. As far as the NFC hottest teams, I really can't pick one because it looks like everybody's been doing a pretty good job. If you would know, if you're on YouTube, let me know in the comment section what you guys think or whatever the case may be, or hit me up on Twitter at VFBaller. Because I can't really find one that's actually like a hot team like the Cincinnati Bengals. Finally, you got the Los Angeles Chargers who are projected to play the Chiefs first. Now, this could be a game that the Chargers could win that game. They could win that game in Kansas City, to be honest. The Kansas City Chiefs are a little shaky. The Chargers could play some pretty good ball and possibly beat them. So right now they're the 7th seed. If they do play the Chiefs, it could have a situation here where they could make it. Now, let's look at some things that's in the hunt because most of the stuff on the NFC side is cut and dry for the most part. You still got the Saints and the Eagles battling it out, which I don't think the Saints are going to make it. I think the Falcons are probably going to end up beating them. But you're looking at a situation where you're looking at son. Come on now. That's my baby. He's getting a little out of control. I know he's getting sleepy. I need to get him a nap or whatever the case may be. What was I saying? Yes, the AFC. Los Angeles Chargers and the Raiders, they're playing against each other. Now, the thing about this, they could, whoever wins are probably going to end up in the 7th seed. Now, if the Raiders make it and get in the 7th seed, the Chiefs are going to beat the Raiders, in my opinion. I mean, I know the Raiders usually have the Chiefs number, but I just don't think the Raiders have the firepower to go up against the Chiefs like the Chargers do. So right now, we're looking at a situation where it's winner take all in the 7th seed, because I think right now with the Raiders are playing against the Chargers, that could be like a playoff game in itself. Indianapolis is at the 6th. They're playing against the Jaguars. I don't expect them to lose that game. And at number 5, you have the New England Patriots playing the Dolphins. Dolphins are already eliminated, but Dolphins can play spoiler, and I don't know how that'll play out there. 10-7. You probably have a situation where teams will be flipping and flopping around 5 through 7, and that'll be a whole different discussion. Now you got the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens on the outside looking in. I don't see them making the playoffs. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see that happening. So that's pretty much it. The Raiders game and the Chargers game. That's probably the Raiders and Chargers is probably the game I'm going to be watching this week. I'm also going to be watching the Falcons and the Saints, obviously, because that's my team. So those are the 2 games so far right now, unless something else happens and I can figure out the rest of the scenarios, I would know what other games I'm watching, but I'm going to keep my eye out on the Chargers and the Raiders. So that's pretty much it for the playoff hunt, the playoff picture. and the prioritizing the offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons. I talked about a few guys on that offensive line that's coming through the draft that could be picked up by the Falcons that I think that are needed. We will talk about other positions down the road. I in the wide receiver position and cornerback and edge rusher. But like I said, one episode at a time, and I probably will be talking about them at a later date. It probably won't be the next episode tomorrow. We'll find other topics to talk about based on the rest of the world of the NFL, Atlanta Falcons, Georgia Southern football. Anything comes up, definitely going to be a topic. I want to thank you guys for making it this far. Thank you guys for listening. If you like what you hear, hit the like button on YouTube. Share this video. Share this podcast. Let people know what I'm doing over here. If you're on the podcast side, give this a high rating so people will know about this podcast. Give me your thoughts and opinions. You can find me on Twitter at VFBaller. I will be going to other social sites as well. And I probably will be putting this up on other video platforms as well for the guys who like to watch. Also, I am trying to expand over to back over to SoundCloud and Google, but I have to work some things out. So if you like listening to this on Google Podcasts, if you like listening to this on SoundCloud, because people still like using SoundCloud, I will have that avenue back open. But right now it's on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor, and any other platform where you can take the link and put it to your favorite podcast avenue. I'll be there so you can listen to me on a daily basis. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. I will see you guys on the next one. You guys be safe. I hope you have a blessed one. I will see you guys in the morning. You guys be easy. You guys take care. Peace.